Hey everyone, David Gold, the Core Real Estate Group. Hey, I've got some really good news regarding mortgage interest rates. We have had a 50 basis point drop in our 30-year mortgage interest rate in the last 3 weeks. And we have seen a ton of market activity materialize because of that. So I'm going to walk you through a couple slides to kind of make sure you understand what that impact means on you if you're either a buyer or a seller. So as you can see here on February the 12th, rates were sitting at 7.14%. That's the average 30-year fixed. And we are now down at 6.64%, 50 basis point drop in a little less than or a little more than 3 weeks. And 15-year rates are now sitting as low as 6.14%, almost getting close to getting into the high fives if you can afford a 15-year mortgage. Now, a couple of things are impacting this. Number one is there are some economic concerns. There's been plenty of talk about tariffs, that the economy is starting to worsen. The Atlanta Fed recently downgraded what they think our GDP is going to be to negative territory. We also have kind of the threat of some unemployment growing, at least from our federal worker standpoint. It looks like that unemployment numbers are starting to rise. The Federal Reserve is signaling that they could have some more cuts on the horizon to the Fed rate. And all of this is having a negative impact on the 10-year Treasury. But for mortgage interest rates, when the 10-year Treasury drops, usually rates drop along with it, and it's having a positive effect on mortgage interest rates. So to give you an idea of what this means, let's say you were looking at a house 3 weeks ago and rates were at 7.14%. Assuming you were putting 20% down and buying a house somewhere around that 75,000 price point range, your payment was right under 6,000 at $5,768. That same house today, that payment would now be $5,485. That's a $283 drop in payment in your monthly payment. And if you could afford the $5,768 payment, now with the new rates, your buying power goes from that 1,075,000 up to 1.13 million, which is an increase in almost $60,000 worth of home that you can afford. So a good sign for both buyers and for sellers. And then, just kind of what's happening in the market right now, pending sales in January hit the lowest level in a long time in January 2025. And that was because interest rates had moved so high. And then, of course, here in the LA area, we had the fires and so many other things that were affecting our real estate market. Existing home sales were slowing down in January. And there are some, price declines starting to happen, and new home sales are starting to decline. Builder confidence was declining because of these higher interest rates. When we look at inventory, there was a 27% increase in inventory coming out of January. That's on a year-over-year basis. The median list price around the country was at 412. That was actually flat. And almost 17% of all homes around the country had price reductions. So what that means is that with rates stabilizing and starting to decrease slightly, the spring selling season here and inventory starting to build, as a buyer, your dollar now has more buying power than it's had in a long time. And there's a bit of an increase in inventory that you can pick from. And what we've literally seen just in the last week or two is a huge uptick in activity and transactional volume. Our team has opened up 5 different escrows in the last 3 weeks. So if you are a buyer, now's a great time to get out and start looking again. I think maybe there was a house that you could have seen before, but you couldn't quite afford it. Now it might be in your price range just because of the drop in interest rates. And if you're a seller, well, guess what? There's all of a sudden an uptick in buyer activity. So if you were afraid to put your home on the market, either because rates were too high, well, they've come down 50 basis points. Or if you were afraid there weren't enough buyers out there, well, guess what? Buyers are coming back. So This is a positive sign for the real estate industry. But of course, if you are looking for some advice on how all of this affects your situation, well, please let us know. Give us a call, either myself or someone from the team. We would love to talk more about how this affects your situation. So I hope you found this information helpful. If so, please click the subscribe button down below. And it's always, we'd love to chat. So feel free to reach out to myself or someone from the team. David Coe, the Real Estate Group. I hope you're doing well and hope to talk to you soon.